Have you ever noticed that the quietest people in the room are usually the ones you can't quite figure out? They speak less, yet somehow feel more powerful. They avoid unnecessary conversations, but their silence says more than others' loudest words. Why is that? What is happening inside the mind of a person who doesn't talk too much? Are they hiding something? Or do they understand something the rest of us don't? Today we're diving into the dark psychology of the silent ones, the secrets they never speak, the patterns you never see, and the truth behind why you feel uneasy, curious, or strangely drawn to them. Think about the last time you met someone who barely talked. Maybe they sat at the corner of a room, observing everyone, saying only what was necessary, and you felt something, maybe respect, maybe discomfort, maybe curiosity. But why? Most people don't realize that silence itself is a form of psychological power, and people who use it, intentionally or naturally, often possess traits that go unnoticed. They might be introverts, deep thinkers, socially selective, or simply people who have learned one of the hardest human skills, the power of withholding. But silence can also be born from pain, childhood experiences, being misunderstood, or environments where speaking up wasn't safe. Sometimes the quiet ones learned early that listening protects them more than speaking ever did. And then, there's the darker truth. People who don't talk much often understand others far more than others understand them. They notice micro-expressions, hidden tensions, and emotional signals because they're not busy forming their next sentence. They're watching, absorbing, analyzing. Their silence becomes a shield, a filter, and sometimes even a weapon. In this video, we're going to explore the real reasons behind their quiet nature. We'll break down the hidden psychological mechanisms that shape their behavior, the emotional triggers that guide their decisions, and the secret strengths most people never give them credit for. By the end, you may discover that the quietest people are carrying the loudest minds. Let's start with the first psychological layer. Silent people process information differently. While most people speak to think, quiet people think before they speak. Their brain filters every word through logic, meaning, and consequence. That's why conversations with them feel intentional, not random. But here's where it gets deeper. 1. They observe more than they express. Silent people are natural scanners. They pick up on things others miss, tiny mood changes, body language shifts, or moments of insecurity someone tries to hide. It's not that they're trying to read you, it's that their brain is designed to watch before reacting. This makes them emotionally intelligent in a way that doesn't look loud or expressive. They know who's pretending. They know who's uncomfortable. They know who's lying, even if they never call it out. 2. Their silence is a protection mechanism. Many quiet people grew up feeling judged or misunderstood, and instead of fighting for space, they learned to preserve energy. Talking became optional. Observing became survival. This is why you'll notice they don't speak unless the situation is safe. They don't explain unless the person is trustworthy. They don't open up unless you've earned it. 3. They mentally rehearse before speaking. Silent people have an internal script running at all times. Before they say anything, they think, is this necessary? Will this be misunderstood? Will this drain me? Their mind evaluates conversation like a decision-making system, not a casual exchange. 4. They manage conflict by withdrawing. Not because they're weak, but because they don't see the point in arguing with someone who isn't listening. When a loud person raises their voice, the quiet one raises their awareness. They go silent, not out of fear, but out of calculation. 5. They form deeper, fewer connections. This is one of the biggest psychological differences. Quiet people don't bond easily. Their trust is slow, selective, and extremely intentional. But once they trust someone, they are loyal in a way that loud people rarely are. 6. They think in long-term patterns. Silent people don't rush decisions. They take time, reflect, and only act when they're sure. This makes them appear mysterious, unpredictable, or hard to read because they're not impulsive. Their thoughts run deep. Their emotions run deeper. And the deeper you go into their psychology, the more you realize silence is not an absence of words. It is the presence of thought. Now here's the twist. The insight most people never realize. Quiet people are not quiet because they lack something. They're quiet because they have too much inside their minds. Their silence is not emptiness, it is overflow. A silent person may look calm on the outside, but inside they're processing layers of emotion, meaning, memories, and interpretations. Their brain is constantly evaluating, connecting dots, and absorbing signals that loud people simply talk over. And this leads to the darkest psychological truth of all. Quiet people are often the most misunderstood and the most underestimated. People misjudge them as shy, weak, boring, or socially awkward. But in reality, these individuals often have sharper intuition, deeper emotional awareness, and stronger self-control than anyone else in the room. Silent people don't reveal their strengths. They don't reveal their fears. They don't reveal their next move. This makes them unpredictable, uncontrollable, and in many ways psychologically untouchable. Because you can't manipulate someone who isn't seeking attention. You can't intimidate someone who doesn't react easily. And you can't defeat someone who thinks 5 steps ahead while you're still arguing about step 1. The quiet ones, they hold a different kind of power. A power built not on volume but on depth. So what does all of this mean for you? If you're someone who doesn't talk much, stop apologizing for it. Your silence is not a weakness. It is a form of intelligence. You process deeply, observe carefully, and speak with intention. That alone puts you ahead of most people. But here's the practical part. 1. Use your silence strategically. Pause before reacting. Watch before judging. Speak only when your words add value. This makes people listen when you finally do talk. 2. Build emotional boundaries. Quiet people often absorb too much. Learn to separate your feelings from others' energy. Protect your mental space. 3. Be selective, but open when necessary. Don't isolate yourself. You don't need many people, but you do need good people. Choose friends who understand your silence, and don't try to fill it with noise. 4. Don't let society shame you for being quiet. Loudness does not equal confidence. Silence does not equal weakness. You operate differently, and that difference is your strength. 5. Use your observational power wisely. You see things others don't. Use that awareness to improve your relationships, your decisions, and your emotional stability. At the end of the day, the world misunderstands quiet people because it fears what it can't measure. Silence is unpredictable. Silence is powerful. Silence is honest. So here's my final question for you. Do you stay quiet because you have nothing to say, or because the world doesn't deserve to hear everything you're thinking? Tell me in the comments below. Your answer might reveal more about you than you realize.